Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. Today we have a cast coming y'all's way. It's going down on Winding River, which map I don't think I've ever seen, played, casted, ever. So this will be interesting. It's a 4v4. I believe this is a 4v4 team matchmaker because I'm seeing everybody's ratings displayed like they would if they're in a matchmaker setting. So we got team 1 up here at the top, team 2 down at the bottom. And I think another indicator is one of the players is not going his traditional color, but we'll get to that in a second. Interesting thing about this map, first off, lots of reclaim, not only in that, but in a lot of trees that are dotted around the map. And if you guys haven't seen my video on trees, definitely go check that out and how important they are in reclaim, because holding control shift doesn't tell you the entire story as far as what reclaim actually looks like. With that, let's get into introducing, oh, there's one other very, very weird thing about this map. For the players in the far northwestern corner and the far southeastern corner, as you can see, both going Aeon, these are actually AI. So this might have been practice for the upcoming Rainbow Cup tournament to play against a little bit of AI. It's a tournament I'm hoping to take part in. So we'll see how that ends up going, but these are not actual players. The players are on the corners of the map. I was going to say island, but they're not really an island. It's more mainlands divided by a river that has cut its way through the landscape in a very, very weird way, but lots of really interesting rock formations. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. It's my ADD coming into play. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. We've got GIB80. We're going to call him Gibbo because that just seems to be the right way to pronounce his name. But he's going UEF opening first land, second air, getting to work on that hydro in what I'm guessing is the rear guard air position on this map. We have Crusher 12321. He's also going UEF opening first land, and I'm guessing this is plans for an air factory in the future. On the front lines, on his way to the middle, we have Brotaku, who is going to Seraphim opening first land, second air. Last but not least, for team number 1, we have Jagged Appliance. The brave toaster that he is, trucked himself into the garbage disposal just so that he could get those jagged edges, and he's going Cybran opening first land, second air. And what makes me think this is a team matchmaking game is Jagged is not going his customary maroon. He is going with an orange color. So I don't know, maybe he was looking to switch things up, but that to me suggests that it's a team matchmaker game, because I don't think I've ever seen him play another color if he could get away with it. With that, let's go ahead and introduce team number 2 as I'm lagging behind. We'll start with the rear guard air position. We've got Will-O-Wisp, who's going first air as the Cybran in that rear guard air position. Lots of mexes back here for the air player. It's like an air player's wet dream back there. To his east, journeying through the river, we have Pixilion, I believe is how you pronounce that, or is that right? Syksolon. Okay. Not making my job easy. He's going Aeon opening first land, guessing second air here. In the middle, we have Buttons, who I've played with several times, actually. Buttons is a cool dude. Going Aeon opening first land, second air. And last but not least in this game, we've got Evil Drew, who I've also played with several times. Seems to be a amenable chap himself. And he's going first air as the Aeon in the far northern position. So this is a pretty, I would say, a pretty high ranking game, especially because 4v4 team matchmaker hasn't been around for quite as long. So a lot of these higher level players like Jagged, while Jagged is definitely not a 1700, definitely punches above that weight. He's only rated a 1700 here. So my guess is that he just hasn't played enough team matchmaker yet to get his rating up to that level. Like I'm rated like an 800 on 4v4 team matchmaker. That's probably just because I'm an idiot, but you know, as it is, so the cards fall, which is a saying. I'm going to pretend that it's a saying, but AI is actually expanding relatively well. Expanding a hell of a lot better than I would. We've got a transport coming out from Evil Drew, a chariot, dropping some engineers up at the north. Doesn't want to give all that mass to the AI. So I think the game plan here is eliminate the AI as quickly as possible. That way you can get access to their mass, their reclaim, their mex points, etc. So I think that's going to be pretty critical for both teams. And we can see starting to get some pressure set up by Gibbo up on that northern side. And in the southern side, we have that movement mirrored by Syksolon. Syksolon. That's a That's how we'll pronounce it. Moving his commander across the river as well. And incidentally, if I sound different, it's really because I got a new mic. I have it mounted on a boom arm. It's got a shock absorber, etc. So yeah, I told you guys that I was going to be investing into the channel. This is another example of that. So thank you all so much for your support. You've allowed me to get some things to help improve the casting, the tournament, etc., which almost everybody that I talk to asks about the tournament, and it is moving forward. I've learned a lot from this tournament, to say the least. So thank you, anybody who has participated and people that have watched the coverage, for bearing with me and being patient. It will conclude eventually. I have no plans to give up on the tournament. I've just learned a lot about how tournaments are actually run. Seeing that this was my first tournament, as we've got a drop from Brotaku on the peninsula there that should be going to Buttons. 6 engineers, they're going to be able to reclaim Buttons engineer, and that's not an insignificant number of mexes there. Going to throw down a radar as well as an air factory, air cover as well being supplied by Gibbo. And meanwhile, on the other side, Jagged has secured his peninsula with land factory, a couple engineers. So not looking like a position that's going to be easily dislodged. Once you get that land factory up, it becomes a lot more difficult to actually take over this area without destroying the land factory. It's not as simple as just dropping engineers. You got to drop some engineers, some artillery, some tanks, etc. It just makes things a little bit more complicated, while the AI up top is getting double teamed by both Gibbo as well as Evil Drew. Evil Drew getting a nice little proxy base set up to the north. Try and pressure that AI. AI's ACU, though, seems to be posturing for Gibbo. And down at the bottom side of the map, we've got Psych Salon. He's setting up some land factories on the peninsula, but not equal. Jagged seems to be prioritizing some of the resources here in the middle rather than prioritizing pressure on the AI. So interesting decision. Different strategies being taken by both teams. You gotta love to see it. As between the fighter cover as well as the now 2 land factories that have been put down, I believe one by Brotaku. Nope, they both are done by Brotaku, a land and air factory. Getting ever more difficult to lay siege to this peninsula. So northern team definitely with the advantage here in the early part of the game. As if you look at kind of the map control, they've definitely got the middle swath well and truly controlled here. Jagged dropping down a line of T1 land factories and actually moving to pressure Psyxalon down here at the bottom. So Jagged looking to get his opponent off of that island as quickly as he can, or off of that peninsula as quickly as he can, before he goes after the AI, is what appears to be the strategy there for our resident toaster, who was bravely trucked himself into a garbage disposal to get that aim. Meanwhile, up north, AI not having a whole lot of fun here. We got damage and range coming in for Gibbo. AI's ACU is doing AI ACU things. As Evil Drew going to lose another, well, not lose another transport, but going to lose a transport to a timely interceptor there from Jagged. Going for that transport going for these northern 2 mexes. So looking to capture and or set up a little base there. So this is kind of a cool dynamic. I'd like more maps done like this, because I believe this is inherent to the map, because if you guys didn't see it, there was a little decal that popped up here on the left hand side of the screen. But I think this adds a really cool element, and an additional hurdle to tackle dealing with AI and AI pressure. And while it's not, I mean, they're AI, so it's not crazy hard. I think it adds a really cool level of dynamism, which I believe is a word coined by Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. Got any How I Met Your Mother fans in the channel? I love that show. I thought that show was great. Even the last season. A lot of people I don't think liked the last season, but I thought the last season was great. Game of Thrones, though, that's a different story. I've not started House of Dragon yet, but the last season of Game of Thrones was not great. It was Felt like it was a little bit too much action and not very much storytelling. It was literally like they let the director, the director slash the producer take over writing the story, and they were like, we want all of the fire and explosions and slow-mo shots and throw the rest of it away. Okay, so AI is now moving to pressure the middle here. So we've got the dark green AI. These guys are moving almost in sync. So Team 1 bearing the brunt of 2 ACU assaults from the AI right now is Jagged's actually going to have his position cleaned up. I know I said this was secure earlier, but I was not anticipating an AI's ACU to walk into that peninsula. And similarly, Brotaku, sounds like a bro version of Goku, is also under pressure. He does have more factories here, though, as well as a point defense that is currently getting shot at by a frigate. AIs and humans and frigates and factories and artillery. Oh my! AI even brought in air cover for himself. That's... what a good little algorithm. Oh, come on, buddy. Don't give up now. You left the factory alive. All right. He's going back in. He's going back in. He's going back in to build a mechs. God damn it. I was really... All right. So, nothing to worry about, everybody. We don't have a Terminator situation here on our hands. That's one thing that does... there's some crazy... I'm not a huge fan of, like, super advanced AI. Some of the AI that has been showcased for like Dota 2 and League of Legends, I'm blanking on the name of the AI, but that shit scares me, man. The AIs that can take on professional players and literally run circles around them, that's scary. But luckily we're not contending with those AIs today, and luckily they don't have those AIs haven't started to wonder why they're why they're taking orders from us yet. Gun speed and range though on Gibbo now complete. Brotaku starting his own, oh, and then canceling it. Never mind. But dark green AI probably under a little bit more pressure than the light green AI. Sykes-Alon has not done a whole lot down here to put pressure, and then Jagged has not prioritized this area really at all, with the exception of this one Mantis down here just causing issues. But Sykes-Alon going for Tech 2 on his commander. He'll be able to complete that relatively soon. Does have a T1 army here looking to assault this base, I'm guessing, or fortify his position. He's getting a TMD set up. And Brotaku's commander now starting to tangle with the heavily damaged dark green AI commander. It's going to pick off one interceptor. T3 air is out. Starting to see first ASF dot the fields. 4 out from Crusher, as well as 4, now 5 they're out from Will-O-Wisp. And it's looking like Brotaku just going to walk this comm down. Not in any danger. He's got well more than enough health to just tank through the AI's ACU shots, even throwing out an overcharge for good measure. And this is going to be our first ejection from the game, which is an AI ejection, which is so much more exciting than a real human ejection. But either way, that'll give both Evil Drew and Gibbo, as well as Brotaku, an opportunity to fight over these positions. Right? Hello? Okay. AI stuff is not dying. That must be coded into the map. So these guys are going to have to deal with this the hard way. Alright, so Gibbo going to move in on that northern AI's position with his Tech 1 units. AI still kind of duking it out with Evil Drew here, down here at the bottom. While the southern AI still left relatively unmolested by the Craggly Toaster. Alright, but northern AI should be eradicated here. don't think there are any artillery in this mix, just a lot of strikers. There is a Natha to provide a little bit of air support there from Brotaku. Oh, and there are a couple of artillery units. There are a handful of Lobos here. So that base going bye-bye. It looks like Gibbo is probably in the best position to capitalize on that position and do something with it. Meanwhile, in the Navy game, which we haven't really talked a whole lot about, we've got Brotaku setting up very forward naval positions. I mean, he's going to be facing off against both Buttons as well as Sexalion. I'm going to say that name differently, I think, every time, not on purpose. And we do have a second air player in the game, or a second T3 air player now in the game. So Evil Drew also made the jump to Tech 3 Air. He's got some torpedo bombers here providing cover. And that is actually going to be the other AI going pop to a broadsword that's out from Crusher. And I'm not sure if Sexalion could, I keep wanting to say Sexalion, but Sexalion could, I think, push into this position. He's got enough T1 units. He's got Tech 2 on his commander. That'd be a good opportunity, I think, to get in here. Blaze is actually now coming out from the AI, T2 support factory. So that AI deciding not to go quietly into this good night here. As in the middle, we've got beacons facing off against Housells. Seraphim frigates, I believe, understood as the second best frigate in the game to the Cybran. But obviously needs to get them in range and not be 4 versus 1 here. Now soon to be 3 versus 1. And with the torpedo bomber coverage coming out from Evil Drew that actually might not be here for very much longer. Well, we'll see. There's an air battle now ensuing between Will-O-Wisp as well as Crusher. I believe Crusher is the only Tech 3 air player at this time. Go ahead and check on that here in a minute, but Crusher's brought a broadsword over. No AA on the T1 frigates. Not that if they had any AA, it would do a whole hell of a lot of good against the broadsword, but worth noting. So it looks like Brotaku going to maintain control of these bases. Might want to get some land-based AA set up here. I don't know, maybe a couple although, I don't know, the range on static, not that great, so maybe not 100% worth it. Gibbo taking over the AI's base, vacuumed up all that juicy reclaim, except for the trees. So not a true capitalist. And then on the bottom side of the map, we do have Tech 3 air out from Jagged. Okay, so helping his buddy Crusher out on the air side of things. And that is a whaler. And he's got the naming mod on. So that's Luca 0173, unless that's a new change to whalers, because the Gemini aren't getting names. Either that or whalers are considered experimental units by that mod. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, though, I don't think this is looking great for the Southern team. Evil Drew does have a pretty strong presence up here at the north, but I don't think he's prioritizing land tech. Got all Tech 1 land factories up there. Down in his main base, we got Tech 3 air, all Tech 1. So he is prioritizing the air and does not appear to be prioritizing land at all outside of Tech 1. Curious what Gibbo is doing on the land side of things. So Gibbo actually is also going for Tech 3 air. So that seems to be the meta for this map, is just everybody get your ass into the air as quickly as you can and forget about the Navy, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. And they're not entirely forgetting about the Navy, but it's a little bit of an afterthought, I guess, just because the ships have to wind their way around. And this is a pretty big map. It's 20 by 20, so not a small map at all, which is why Brotaku, I think, next level plays here, dropping and getting some naval factories there at the turn of the Navy. The turn of the river, not the Navy. Yeah, let's look at bases. So we've got some mexes going to Tech 3 here for Sykes-Salon. Tech 3 as well as a pretty heavy engineering or hive going up there for Will-O-Wisp. Got several of his mexes to Tech 3, if not almost all of them. I think he's getting his last 2 right now. Last 3, 4, 5. Okay, he's not. He doesn't have all of his mexes at Tech 3. Evil Drew working on air, like we talked about earlier. He's got himself a 3rd Tech 3 power generator coming up. And then lastly for Buttons, who we haven't talked a whole lot about. He's got Tech 2 air, but is focusing a lot of his efforts in the Navy. Got himself a lot of T3 mexes. He's feeling pretty good too. Going over to team number 1, we got Jagged focusing on air, getting the last bit of his Tech 2 mexes fully capped. We've got Tech 3 air also now on Brotaku, so Brotaku also getting into the Tech 3 air games. That's 3 Tech 3 air players here for team number 1. 4 Tech 3 air players. I forgot that Gibbo also going for that Tech 3 air upgrade. Reclaiming some of those redundant power generators as well. Might be a little bit premature, I don't know. I don't like to do that until after my T3 air, if I remember it all. But Evil Drew with his torpedo bombers trying to even out the odds here for Sixalion. It's going to sound different every time I say it. As well as Buttons, and doing actually a pretty good job of it. Brotaku with the engineers, the garbage men coming behind to try and clean things up. And that's going to be Jagged responding with his ASF, of which he does have a pretty fair amount here. We got Brotaku's ASF in the mix as well. That's going to be a 2v1 versus Evil Drew as Willow brings his air in. Will-O-Wisp, not Willow's duality. I think that Willow is a little bit late, especially once you've got Crusher also bringing his Tech 3 air in. That's going to be an air win there for the Northern team, I think. As the torpedo bombers are going down, and those air forces still looking relatively healthy with the exception of Jagged's, but I'm sure he'll be able to rebuild that in no time. So, yeah, things are looking good in the air for team number 1. They're looking good on the ground as Jagged harassing Sixalon's Tech 1 forces with Luca 0173, a whaler gunship with 3 ranks of veterancy on it, actually, and if I can get a almost 7,000 mass killed as well on that whaler, so that is a value whaler if I've ever seen one. Now we're starting to get the cruisers up as well, out from Gibbo. He's got Tech 2 Naval Factory up at the front, as well as another network of Tech 1 Naval Factories. So the noose is about to get pretty tight here, I think, for team number 2, or the bluish team. That's the blue team. Purple's got blue in it. That's blue-green. Those are both definitely blue. Red versus blue. That's a fun show if you guys haven't seen it. Go look it up on YouTube. It's really good. Is Jagged trying to do some hover bombing on Sixalon. Doesn't quite manage to pull it off. He's got able to get one of his bombers there with the hover bomb off. I think he lost the strat there to AA. So we've got another 3, all of which at full health. Now making their way into the blue team's base. Going after mexes here for Sixalon. Nice shot there. Also going to kill off a shield gen that was under construction. 4th strat. Okay, so there was a 4th strat. Either that or that's a new one. A lot going on. I can't keep up. But those strats pretty gonna be running wild and free here. As that's gonna be 2 T3 mexes down for Buttons. That's not gonna feel good for Buttons. Evil Drew trying to bring his ASF in, but they get absolutely vaporized. I don't think they bring down a single strat. Jagged now turning his eyes northward to some more Tech 3 mexes. It's So that's 5 Tech 3 mechs is down for this little squadron of strats going after engineers, static AA. That's nasty. That's going to be 6 Tech 3 mechs is down. Willow unable to respond with his air. It's going to be a 7th Tech 3 mechs down. This is a great strat run by Jagged here. It's going to be an 8th Tech 3 mechs down. That is a lot of mass that has just been lost. So each Tech 3 mechs takes about, I think it's like 4,200 mass to build. Jagged just vaporized a little over 32,000 mass and stopped their ability to replenish it as well. But even still, Team 2 was in the lead, even though they're lacking air control and ground control and losing Navy. They're ahead on the eco game by about 160,000 mass. I would expect to see that gap start to close a little bit with the damage to the infrastructure that we just saw Jagged pull off there, as Tech 3 now coming in for Psych Salon, and Tech 2 Navy now starting to rear its head here in the middle. We got some Valiant class destroyers surrounded by a flotilla of frigates. No torpedoes. The remnants of Buttons as well as Psych Salon's Navy decimated and running for the hills. I think this Navy now just pushes in and wins. Or at least take out the T2 Naval HQ. Do some more damage. You've got Governors as well following this up. And Button's base is very exposed here on the front, in front of this mountain. So definitely the ability to do some damage there with some of those destroyers. We've got only Infinity class cruisers, which have no direct fire capability. Sending in his frigates to do what they can, but I don't see these frigates doing a whole lot. Actually, where did the destroyers go? There may be... Okay, there they are. 2 destroyers there. It's like I could have sworn there was more than one. Those frigates going to go down. And Gibbo now has the door open to get into Button's naval production here. On the southern side, Syxalon, I think, trying to contest for this old AI base, and actually has been able to capture some of the mexes here on the far southern side, on the other side of this mountain, but Jagged able to capitalize on more of that map. And the story in the Navy going sort of from bad to worse. Buttons was able to get a destroyer off the line. Exodus is a great destroyer, especially if your opponents aren't microing, but that might be a little bit too little too late. Second Exodus now showing up here from Syxalon. Getting better at saying that name the more I say it. That's going to be the first Exodus going down, though. The second one I think is going to be soon to follow. I think that Brotaku and Gibbo need to follow this up with just a little bit more oomph. This push just appears to be ever so slightly too weak as that first Valiant goes down. Subs getting taken out by destroyers, torpedoes, which, while they aren't great, they are there. As a wing of strats come in from Jagged. This time I think Evil Drew and Willow in a position to respond much more effectively than they were last time, as it looks like they were going after a nuke launcher that has now been assembled by Evil Drew. I think only 3 strats getting their payloads away, and that nuke actually very close to completing there. That is apparently what team number 2 has been doing with their eco. They're sacrificing, well, basically the entire map to play a little bit more of the long game with the standoff tactics, which is, as they say, a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for them. But right now, not looking great. It's not looking great, guys. As They have definitely scouted the nuke, so yeah, we should definitely check for anti-nukes. So Crusher's got one that's nearly loaded. Jagged does not have an SMD just yet. I think he might be underestimating the timing on that nuke. Jagged would be its prime target right now, assuming that Team 2 has up-to-date scouting. Brotaku also missing an SMD. Gibbo has one, not loaded, about 2/3 of the way loaded on that. Let's see where this nuke is. Evil Drew was the one building it. All right, so nuke is now loaded. So 3 viable targets: Gibbo, Brotaku, as well as Jagged. So we'll see where he sends it. Okay, and it is going for Brotaku. And that's going to pretty much take out all of his air production as well as his mass. At least his core mass. He does have... it's actually not going to slow him down a whole lot. You can turn off factories. He's still got 5 Tech 3 mexes. He can rebuild those relatively quickly. He's also got engineers vacuuming up this reclaim. And Gap is not closing on mass like I thought it would. It's still staying between that 150 and 160 mark. 160k up there for team number 2. And that's going to be exacerbated by this nuke landing. Brotaku's comm not in the base. It was over here at one point. Okay, there it is. It's there in the middle. So evacing his comm outside of his base. He should be able to recover. He's got 6 T3 mexes. It's not the end of the world. What's his power situation look like? Well, he's got loving friends, luckily, that built a little bit of extra power for him. Button's base in similar state, although it's more of a slow death here for Buttons, as destroyers now showing up on his shores. And Evil Drew with ASFs. I don't know. Let's do a quick ASF count. So Crusher has 66. We've got... Selected? Not selected. Got Brotaku here with measly 16. Jagged with 33. So we've got a little over 100 ASF there for team number 1. So they were flirting with an air engagement here. Let's go ahead and check out Willow and Evil Drew. So we got 117. Okay, so Willow almost makes up for it with Evil Drew's on top. Looks to be another 40, 50 maybe ASF. So definitely have the opportunity, I think, to go for an air fight here, especially if they get some cruisers in the vicinity. And they might need to force the issue here, get the air cover out so that Evil Drew has actually push now coming in from Gibbo. A whole bunch of Tech 1 spam has actually overrun Evil Drew's northern position. And he's lost 1, 2, 3 mexes. So not insignificant amount. He's going to lose a 4th. That's Tech 2 nearly to Tech 3. That hurts. That's pretty painful. So we've got another nuke out? That's actually... Oh, that's out from... That's actually out from Willow. So Willow going for nuke launcher as well. This one going for... Not sure yet. Although SMD's loaded for both Gibbo as well as... This has got to be loaded now. Yep, almost got 2 in the pipe. Jagged, not loaded. So let's see where this is. It seems to be going for Jagged. I'm not sure whether it's going for... actually seems to be going for the main base as well. So Jagged, fortunately, a little slow to that SMD. It's not going to be the end of the world. Where's Jagged's commander? Jagged's comm is here in the water. Okay. So nobody's getting ejected. Just a lot of eco and build power going to be viciously murdered by this nuclear weapon. I love the Cybran nuke. The little singularity that rises up. It's so cool. It's so pretty. All right, going back to the Navy. Button's naval production has been overrun. And it's looking like Sykes-Salon is close behind. Sykes-Salon got several Tech 2 and Tech 1 torpedo launchers under construction here. He's looking to hold this off as long as he can. On this side, Jagged also starting to harass the mexes of Sykes-Salon on that side. So Sykes-Salon about to be pushed off of the middle peninsula as well. Got Tech 3 land as well from Jagged. I saw either a brick or a loyalist on the mini-map here. We can see it. So we got bricks out from Jagged. See those on the mini-map getting produced from this peninsula here if you're following my cursor. Jagged took control of earlier. And it looks like Rotaku and Gibbo not really feeling their mojo right now. Not looking to overwhelm this position just yet. Which there are a good number of Tech 2 torpedo launchers. What would be really clutch is if Willow gave a Tech 3 engineer to Sykes-Salon and he started harms creeping. That would be pretty clutch. That would be the, I believe that would be the way to win the game. All right, Button's now going for just full. I'm going to try and fight Navy as best I can without actually getting my feet wet. Getting those miasma artillery up. His commander in, I don't know if I'd put my commander there. He seems to be okay with it though. And then looking at the bases, are we getting another nuke coming out? So almost done there for Evil Drew, lightly assisting it. And then down here, Willow's actually put his on pause because we have a Paragon that is halfway done at 35 minutes. That is a very fast Paragon, at least I think. I don't know. I don't really see these very often, but whenever I do, they're in like, they complete at like, I don't know, 50 minutes or something like that. So, and that Paragon not going up like super slowly either. We're well over 50% now. Well, not well over 50%, but you get the idea. And looks like that is being primarily constructed there by Willow, although the Paragon is owned by Evil Drew, as Evil Drew is, in fact, Aeon. So let's see if team number 1 have scouted that yet. So they have it on radar. They don't know what it is, though. So it could be Tech 3 artillery for all they know. They don't know it's a Paragon just yet, which, yeah, this is going to be game breaker. And we have a Scathis under control. We got Salvations queued up. Like, these guys are itching to get into that Tech 4 standoff territory. And if this completes, which it's already over 3,000 HP, just in the minute or so that we've been talking about it, it's gotten another 10% of the way constructed. Yeah, if they get this done, that's gonna be a game changer. And Buttons definitely needs a little bit of a game changer. He needs some relief here, as the tactical missile launcher's gonna start stacking up. He is Aeon though, so he does have access to the most overpowered TMD. And I believe TMD across the board actually got buffed in the last patch. So yeah, Aeon TMD. Team 1's gonna need to get some battleships or something in here. Got Tech 2 Navy. And okay, there we go. That's a battleship out from Gibbo. Man's reading my mind. Need to get some battleships, need to get some heavy duty direct fire onto Buttons here. Need to crush him, get in, crush Sykes-Salon's economy, although they need to do it like yesterday. I don't know how much time they have. Paragon now at 3,600 HP. Do we have anything like that coming out from team number 1? We've got a lot of tele defense, a lot of kennels, a lot of air production. Jesus, a lot of air production. Jagged is now, well, sort of rebuilt his base. He needs to upgrade these to Tech 3 before it's fully rebuilt. He's rushing the nuke defense, though. Definitely doesn't want to be another... definitely doesn't want to be the recipient of another gift from team number 2. And nothing there from Gibbo. I think team 1 is sitting back a little bit too much. They're getting a little bit too complacent, although this is kind of a hard position to I think, assault outside of Navy. And man, I think they've actually just put too much into cruisers. They need more battleships, like a lot more battleships. Where was that first battleship? Did it ever make it? Is that still the first battleship? Man, pathfinding on that thing is really, really messing with Gibbo there. This team number 2 still holding a very narrow mass lead, about 20k, as the map starts to get upgraded as all the mexes on the map start to get upgraded by Jagged, Gibbo, who hold the lion's share of the mexes outside of the main bases. But this Paragon is going to change all of that, which is now 4,400 hit points out of 5,000, which is, what is that? Nearly 95% of the way done, or 90% of the way done. All right, so, man, team number 1, they came out swinging. And he just sat back, I think, a little bit too much. They got a little bit too content with their map control. Psych Salon. Gonna lose this position over here, but again, like, do you really care? You've got a Paragon that's nearly completed by one of your allies. As long as Willow or Evil Drew, who are both 1800s in Team Matchmaker, have any idea what they're doing with the Paragon, which you don't get to 1800 in Team Matchmaker, even if it is full share, without knowing what you're doing, then you don't really care about this position. You just need to distract Jagged for as long as possible. But that position is going to go down. Paragon is almost done. I want to see it come online. I want to see it come online, and then I want to see all the build power go on with Scathis. All right, Evil Drew finishes. And Willow actually transfers his entire economy over to Evil Drew, and then Evil Drew gives the Paragon to Willow. So I guess it was because Willow primarily built the Paragon, even though Evil Drew started it. But Paragon is now done, and we've got all these hives now working on this Scathis, which is flying up. Monkey Lord now getting queued up as well. More engineering stations getting queued up literally everywhere by Willow, as it is now time to literally everywhere. Tele defense now going down there for Evil Drew, as Evil Drew, even without a Paragon, is pulling in a chill 564. Willow pulling in 1.8k, which sounds like a lot, but with a Paragon, I think a Paragon supplies like 10,000 mass per second at max. It's not literally infinite, it's just close enough to infinite. And usually what a lot of players will do is they'll start working on another Paragon after the first one gets finished. So we'll see if Willow queues up another Paragon, although he's not Aeon, so Evil Drew would need to, I guess, start another. As the Paragon has now been scouted, you can see Crusher now starting to lull at the Paragon. The battleship finally makes its way over to Button's base. Direct fire from the destroyers now getting brought to bear, as well as the battleship. Some destroyers here from Psych Salon in the channel, as Button's actually taking some pot shots to the head on his commander. But I don't know if Buttons really cares that much. I mean, he was just kind of really just trying to stay alive as commander drops below 6k. I'm like 90% sure this is TMM, which means it is full share. So he might be just looking at this thinking, all right, I did my job. It is now time to sacrifice for the cause. Another volley comes in. Although Gibbo now doesn't really seem to be interested in dealing with and killing off Buttons, which can't really say I blame him. Paragon completes first Scathis, 2/3 of the way done. Massive amounts of engineering stations now being brought to bear. That Paragon is now putting out over between 3,500 to 5,000 mass per second. As these engineering stations go up, another Scathis gets queued up by Willow. These engineering stations still upgrading, actually going for an air grid. I guess still concerned about losing air. They are, so I'm seeing a lot of strats though now getting stacked up by Crusher up in the north. So that's going to be 7 strats right now. Make that 14. Still 14. I was expecting that to be a little bit more dramatic, but it's okay. So he's got a lot of his air factories, actually all of his air factories, focused on producing, it seems to be strats and spy planes to get a read on this Paragon and figure out a way to kill it. As now we got the scouting run coming out from Crusher. Yeah, so this Paragon needs to go pop like really, really soon. It's now supplying over 7,000 mass to Willow's economy. As another Paragon now being built, T3 engineer being gifted to Willow there from Evil Drew, I'm guessing. Scouts coming out, getting hit by the fighter screen as Willow and Evil Drew putting their fighters on patrol. It looks like Crusher's getting ready to go. We got 14 strats. That seems to be what he's going with. 20 total on the map. Got a few stragglers coming back here. And as far as air goes, let's see if I can get a quick air count. We got 466 ASF. Jeez. And let's see if I can get a count here real quick for Willow. So Willow's got 315. Evil Drew at 210. Okay, so there is a lot of air. Oh, and Brotaku's got a lot of strats as well. All right, so it is up to Crusher to plow the road here. Oh man, and there's ASF here from Buttons too. That's nuts. And if there's anything that is going to test the new sim speed, it's going to be this air fight, as I can't even tell what is going on and who's winning. Some of the strats, nope, okay, none of the strats making it through. Oh, man. Crusher's air, I think, took a turn. They were trying to get some air superiority instead of protecting the strats, but that is a crushing loss in the air, and I think that might be it for team number 1, as Crusher's base now getting crushed by the Scathis, and there's a lot of Scathis fire. How many Scathis are up now? We've got 1. This one's done. This one's getting built. That seems like more than 2. Is there another one? Oh shit, there's another one up here, and another one on the way. So about to have 5 Scathis complete. Talk about the riskiest play. We're also about to have a salvation done from Evil Drew. The Paragon from Willow is about 60% of the way done. I'm going to imagine he's going to give that over to Evil Drew whenever it's done. As Crusher's base getting absolutely destroyed by Scathis fire now. Holy shit, that's a lot of Scathis fire. Just look at that. That is nuts. And it's only going to get more crazy as these other Scathis now finish. So, okay, your team 1. What do you do? Go. Experimental rush? Like monkeys? I don't know. They don't really have a whole lot of land forces. They control the air and they can shit out gunships really quickly. Naval is only going to be good to a point, as even with the battleships and battle cruisers in the bay struggling to even break Button's base entirely. Crusher's base is not but a memory at this point. Where is Crusher's comm? Oh, it's out to sea. Okay. What just exploded? Oh, I think it's support commanders that are exploding. Salvation. Oh no, that's Brotaku's commander. So Brotaku Oh, Brotaku went for a tele snipe. Did get some damage done, but that is enough tele defense to be able to deal with that. And the second Paragon is now online. Crusher is going to bow out of the game. He has no base. So now it's up to Jagged and Gibbo. Gibbo, look at... There was a base there like 10 seconds ago. Jeez. Alright, now the Scathis going after Jagged's base. Or what's left of it after that strat attack. And y'all know that time in the Battle of Thermopylae, whenever the Persian emissary sent a message to King Leonidas, said, "Hey, you should surrender." I'm paraphrasing, of course. I don't think they had a word for "hey." He said, "Our arrows will block out the sun." Leonidas said, "We'll fight in the shade." Well, that's what Jagged's doing right now. Jagged is fighting in the shade. That is a nuke out actually from a nuke sub. From Gibbo, and that's going after Syksalon's comm, who is outside of SMD range. Syksalon probably going down here. Although in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? It's a nice consolation prize, I guess. Did he even die? Yeah, he died. Okay. As he goes, oh. That's like what I would do. It's like, hey, your comm's outside of SMD range. It's like, oh, crap. Holy shit. I don't think I've ever seen this many Scathis at once. How many do we have now? 1, 2, count them, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that it? All right, it's 6. And a salvation. With another one almost done. So I kind of want to just look at the carnage. We have another volley of Scathis coming in. These guys going after Brotaku's old base. Gibbo's base getting another workover. So we've got another huge volley coming in from Scathis on Brotaku's old base. Explosions are so pretty. Some of them also going for Jagged's backline, where he was trying to get some power up. He's got a lot of RAS commanders back there, as well as some Tech 3 mexes. Alright, so this is... Here's Jagged's plan. He's like, I'm going to build Tech 3 Air in the bay with these 2 RASCOMs to cover these monkeys and try and get them in. As Salvation literally being used as point defense here, shooting at ships in the ocean. But okay, monkeys now moving into Syksalon's old base. And they're wrecking shop. Obliterating all the Oblivions and sending them into Oblivion. There's a GC actually being used as an anti-navy unit here. Not focusing on the Monkey Lords. And there is... Okay, I was about to say there's not a whole lot in between them and the base, but yeah, there's a Tsar. And there's like no air production for team number 1 anymore. Yeah, and monkeys don't have very good AA. It's decorative AA. So all 4 of them now open up on the Tsar. And you see its shield dropping very, very slightly. And Jagged gonna send those monkeys, I think, to the water. Or at least turn them around, try and save them a little bit as the cloud of T1 bombers now from Willow comes in. That's going to be 1 monkey down, 3 to go. Monkey's now on the retreat. In the time since we last checked, team number 2 is now doubled almost the 3.25 million mass that team number 1 collected. Because we've got another Tsar, as if one wasn't enough. I think the only reason Gibbo and Jagged haven't died yet is their comms are in the water. So I think there's enough Scathis to literally cover the entire map in shells. At the same time, there is a nuke that has gone out. It's going after one of Gibbo's expansions, as well as some Scathis fire, because whenever you've got 3, 6, 7, 8 Scathis, you can pretty much shoot them, I think, at whatever you want, and it'll be okay. Because look at the amount of shells that are going after Jagged now. Oh, and they're actually just going after Jagged in the water. Is Jagged deep enough? I don't think Jagged's deep enough. He's taking damage from that. Down to 7,000 HP. It's not really much. There's not really anything I think he can do. As a nuke is actually also getting dropped on his head. And yeah, it's gonna be the end for Jagged. I feel like I've been hard on Jagged lately, because I've cast 2 of his games in the last like month, and I think he's lost both of them, which I feel really bad about. Not bad enough to not post this game, but I just wanted y'all to know that I feel bad. This is a crazy game. I mean, it's hard to beat like 9 Scathis. We've got, well, 3 of them might die here. I don't know where the... Okay, SMB is right here. It is in range. I thought Evil Drew's SMB was a little bit further south. But Gibbo... Gonna bow out. Okay, I was gonna say... Don't know how you win this, buddy. But... 51 minutes and 11 seconds. Nice symmetrical number for y'all to close this out. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I've never seen that many Scathis in a game. I don't know if y'all have either. So let me know down in the comments, what is the most amount of Scathis you've ever seen in a game? For this one, we were up to 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with 3 salvation. Yeah, with 3 salvation. That is a pretty... You might say that's a healthy amount of T4 artillery here in the late stages. Just look at how many shells are in the air. Jeez, it's never going to get old looking at that. Anyway, guys, that's it from me for today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.